The Witcher 3 is easily one of the greatest games I've ever played. If Deus Ex Human Revolution was my game of the generation for the 7th-gen consoles, then The Witcher 3 is this for the 8th generation. Everything about it is just objectively perfect. From the storyline, to the voice acting, to the gameplay. You name it, I enjoyed it. So, with so much greatness coming from the main campaign, how do you follow up on such an odyssey? The answer is with Hearts of Stone. This is the first of 2 DLCs that came out for The Witcher 3. It's a more self-contained story, but it's also one that carries one of my favorite things about The Witcher, and that is layers. While the main campaign of The Witcher 3 had a type of story with a clear antagonist in mind, it also featured plenty of quests where there was no clear good or evil, and it was done in a way that no matter what you chose, it was all valid. It was grey morality at its finest, and it is something you rarely see well executed in video games. But of course, I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's go step by step. Hearts of Stone has you taking a Witcher contract for one Olgier von Neberek and his not-so-friendly group of friends. There is a monster in the sewers of Oxenford that needs to be dealt with, and you do go and deal with it, along with finding a friendly face there. But what begins as a seemingly harmless side quest, not too different from the many you do in the main campaign, it quickly evolves into a multi-layered Faustian tale. But much like the legend of Faust himself, the devil is in the details. Gameplay-wise, this is your standard fare for The Witcher 3. Everything I said in the main review about the gameplay still applies here, but what makes it stand out in this particular DLC is that it takes advantage of all the best elements of the main campaign, with choices and consequences playing a big part of it, not only for Geralt, but also for the people around him. As soon as you are done with the monster in the sewers and make a great escape from a prison ship, you have to make the impossible happen. But in order to make it happen, you have to go through quite the journey. Because you see, Geralt is not exactly doing this out of his own free will, or because he stands to make profit from this as a Witcher. He is in trouble, and the only way to get out of it is by fulfilling the seemingly impossible wishes of Olgierd. And much like the main game, there is more to it than simply drawing your sword. You can join an auction and fight with other attendants to the highest bid for weird yet useful relics. You can join a stranger to put together a daring heist that can benefit the both of you. You can battle with creatures that go beyond what Geralt has ever faced. And in a both humorous and awesome twist, you can even attend a wedding and party all night to your heart's content, and nothing really goes wrong there. One of the most enjoyable parts of these adventures is the pacing. No matter which situation you are in, the game always gives you a moment to just slow down for a second and digest everything you've been going through. Once the sword is sheathed and the conversation has ended, the game lets you walk around on your own pace, finding smaller objectives or every other little detail. It lets you enjoy the environment and get even more immersed in an already fantastic world. Tone also plays a big part into why this DLC is so great. Just to give you 2 examples, the wedding is a light-hearted adventure. It really is just Geralt having a grand old time, dancing, drinking, laughing, partaking in games even. To the point it becomes an outright comedy given the circumstances behind why he's at that party. Then, a few hours later, you are exploring an abandoned mansion where unspeakable tragedies took place, turning into an outright horror experience, where the ghosts haunting the mansion can and will kill you if you are not careful. It also goes for a more sad and gloomy tone once you understand why that place is haunted and why you have to be there. But as stated earlier, every one of these adventures come with their own multiple outcomes, and the consequences for them can and will show their impact, but their true beauty is that, in my own humble opinion, there are no wrong answers. This is one of those rare games where the writers bring you true grey morality. The context, motivations, and actions from the people around you are shown to you with full transparency, leaving you to take what is shown before you and then let you make a decision accordingly. Not too many games can pull this off. The best part is, and your mileage may vary with this, there is no true antagonist in this story. The people you are constantly dealing with have their ups and downs, but again, how you deal with them and their relationship with Geralt depends entirely on you. Even the more perceived antagonist by the fanbase can end up helping Geralt depending on your choices and what point in the main story you are, if you haven't finished it already. It's a kind of freedom not too many games have, and while I do know the fanbase already has a perceived good ending and bad ending, I still feel both endings are just as valid and good because both depend on how you perceive the story and how you proceed with it. There is even more stuff to unpack with Hearts of Stone. Little side quests that encourage you to get out of the beaten path and find them through exploration. Quests that, while they don't impact the overall plot, if at all, they are subtle little bonuses that flesh out the world and add some extra context to the main plot even more. That is the kind of details that make the experience even more valuable. I really wish I could talk deeper about why this DLC is so great, but I feel I could end up spoiling the entire experience. I know the game is going to be 6 years old as 2021 is closing in at the time of this recording, but this is one game and expansion I think is well worth experiencing for the few that haven't played this little masterpiece just yet. Going blind into a game is always great no matter how old the game itself is. Overall, Hearts of Stone is a fantastic expansion to The Witcher 3. After the high stakes of the main story, it was refreshing to slow down and get into a more personal and self-contained tale. Add the already great elements from the core gameplay, and you get something truly amazing. This is why I am giving Hearts of Stone a perfectly subjective 10 out of 10. This DLC is a great example on how to do DLC right and how to give you your money's worth. And it only makes me all the more excited for when I get to play Blood and Wine and see what kind of finale this amazing franchise gets to end with.